can scream, you can cry, but it won't help. It will happen. Time will continue the march.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Scott Campbell,
Yeah.
welcome to Security Halt Podcast, man. Thank you for being here today with me.
Man, I'm grateful to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. One thing that I always advocate for our veterans, first responders, or anybody that's traveling through life and they find themselves going through a pivot, finding themselves in an intersection of change and wanting to follow their dreams, consider entrepreneurship, consider being a business owner. And when you reached out, I was like, dude, it's no brainer. Somebody that's in this space, somebody that's been doing this, and you have a purpose and a mission behind it. So today, Scott, I want you to take us through from concept to where you're at today about your business. Tell us what you got going on.
Wow, cool. So my grandfather died at 51, my dad at 41, and my brother, no, let me start over. Grandfather at 51, dad at 45, brother at 41 from heart attacks.
Oh, wow.
I buried my brother, I was 37. And I knew I wasn't going to live to 45. And I lived like I wasn't going to live to 45. And in 2012, I was walking around with angina, and didn't know it. And went to the doctor. I'd been over in Japan working in the wintertime and smoking and thought that I had bronchitis. And it wasn't bronchitis. It was turned out that it was my arteries were all clogged up.
Oh,
so,
geez.
The doctor took me in. We did an angiogram. That doctor came in, said, "Yeah, nothing I can do for you. You got to wait on the surgeon." Surgeon came in and said, "We got you on the books for a triple bypass at 10:30 in the morning." I was like, "Oh my God, I got to get out of here. I got to write a will. I got things to do. I'll be back in the morning." He's like, "No. You just relax. You're a walking time bomb. You're not going anywhere." So after that was done, I started looking at my diet a little better, but not as much as I needed to, right? But it's kind of hard to take that seriously when you're not taking much of anything seriously. And then in 2017, I was diagnosed with thyroid nodules. And at that point, the naturopath that I was seeing, well, let me step back from that a little bit. I went to the doctor. They found nodules on my thyroid, but I'd gone to the doctor because I was eating like 900 calories a day clean, and I was still gaining weight. And I couldn't, what's going on? And I had a pain from right underneath my jaw down to my shoulder blade or collarbone down my neck. And, that PA told me that the app I was counting calories was wrong. The only way you can gain weight is to eat 3,000 calories per pound. You needed to change your diet, and let's get you in to see a ultrasound. And that kind of ticked me off because she didn't listen to anything that I had told her what I was doing. And a buddy of mine connected me with a naturopath, and I went to see her, and she did some more tests, and my thyroid was off the Richter scale and low on other ends, and I had other issues. I was full of heavy metals. And so she put me on a natural gut restructure, get rid of the heavy metals, and I started eating anti-inflammatory. Gave me a list of what I could eat, what I shouldn't eat. And I'll tell you, Denny, in that first month of sticking to that anti-inflammatory plan, I hadn't sat in a squat in 20, 25 years. Motocross racing, work, sports, life, all of that. I figured my knees were shot. The first 2 weeks, I was sitting in a squat. And the only thing I'd done was change my diet. So that got me thinking. And, at that point also, the candy, the cake, and the cookies, they had to leave the house. So I'm sitting here one night craving chocolate. And the only thing that I could come up with was some cocoa powder I had in the pantry. And I'm looking throughout the kitchen, what can I mix this with? And the only thing I could come up with was some leftover sweet potato and a Vitamix. And it made this killer pudding. So friends would come over and I'd feed it to them. "Dude, you got to check this out." And they're like, "Man, this is good." It's the ones that were diabetic, no blood sugar spikes. What the heck? And I started doing a little research. And my neighbor, she's got food allergies
Mm-hmm.
out the wazoo. It can't eat hardly anything, and vegan. And she tried it, no allergic reactions. It's like, wow, that's crazy. And people started telling me, you got to sell this stuff. So it started out making pies, and I couldn't get the pie shells right. I had a great crust, but one or two pie shells were great, three or four or more. The ones in the middle cooked, they were gooey, and the ones on the outside were burning. And I tried to find somebody that would co-pack pie shells for me, and then the pandemic was on
Mm.
full bore at that point. So this was like end of 2019, going into middle of 2020. And in September, I formed a company and I started Loving My Tummy Foods. And that name came from it. I was thinking one night, every time I eat something good, it's like putting love in my tummy. And it just kind of stuck with me. And the next thing I started was, just selling it as pudding. And by St. Patrick's Day of 2022, farmers markets opened up again. And I had that's where I first introduced it to the public, and it was a hit.
Yeah.
And I've been at it ever since.
Dude, I gotta imagine there's a lot of like it can't be an easy thing to bring in a new food item into the market. I gotta imagine there's a lot of loopholes and things you got to jump into. Because I know a friend of mine, he was trying to get into freeze drying camping foods, and that was like jumping. It was a nightmare for him. What kind of like impediments and like roadblocks you run into with that?
Well, in my ignorance, I thought, oh, all I got to do is put a cookie in a package and take it to the store, and they're going to sell it for me. I mean, it was pretty.
It's not that
I know
easy, Scott.
I know that sounds crazy, but a little naive, right? But it was the truth. I kind of did, and I soon found out. Oh no! I mean, I had to get the Oregon Department of Agriculture, apply to them. There were food labeling requirements. There was testing that had to be done. There were, from an outside lab. There was all kinds of hoops to jump through just to get to where I could put it in a package to put it out for sale. There's barcodes. I don't need a barcode to be at the farmer's market, but I had to get a barcode to get it in a market of choice.
Mm.
So, and that can be an expensive process. Excuse me, and you got to register that thing so that all the barcodes nationwide, right? So every store knows the barcode goes to this product. There's licensing, and I got a license every year to work in a community kitchen. I live on a property that's on a well and a septic. I looked into being able to make it out of my kitchen, and by the time I looked at what it was going to cost just to get the inspections in order to feed that to the county to get their approval to do their own inspection, I was looking at like 10 or 15 grand, and it was going to change the zoning because now I'm making product. And it just, I can't do that. I'm in a rental, number one. And two, it's just too impractical. So I had to find a kitchen and start making it out of there. So, I mean, yeah, the you don't know what you're getting into until you get into it. But you know what? If you want this bad enough, you'll figure it out.
Yeah. And that's the
Yeah.
truth with any dream, right? Like if you really want to make it, if you really want to do something, you're going to have to get down there and do the research and try to
Yeah.
find some experienced individuals and some allies that can help you bring that dream into fruition. And in this journey, how hard was it to find somebody that was also in the food space and willing to help you out?
Well, that's a twofold question. Finding people in the food space here in Portland, Oregon, dude, this is foodie heaven, right? I mean, it is. And it wasn't intended, Good Food wasn't intended to be vegan. It's just that it is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to piss some people off and not when I say this, but this thing about veganism is great. It's a great. I mean, I fished since before I could probably walk, and I got my hunter safety certificate when I was 13 years old, and I've been a hunter and fisherman all of my life. And I don't think anybody that's a true hunter and fisherman is a bigger conservationist, right?
Very
And
true.
an animal advocate. Because the better we take care of the environment and nature, the better quality of the meat that we're harvesting or the fish that we're harvesting for our own freezers is.
Yeah.
So I totally get that we need to be kind to animals, but I think there's a misconception that people have that vegan food is healthy food, and the majority of it isn't, right?
Hmm.
And so, what my point is that this wasn't a vegan product to
Yeah.
start with. It just happens to be plant based. It's the way it worked out. So that said, this is a plant-based market from heaven in Portland, Oregon. And so it's just worked out for me there. And everybody at the farmers markets just wants to help each other out. We're a community. Doesn't matter what market you go to. Oh, you need to talk to this person, or you need to talk to these people, or you need to talk to this organization. And they started helping me just in conversation
Mm.
find the right people and get to the right places. Oregon Entrepreneurs Network is a phenomenal organization for entrepreneurs trying to start and scale their businesses. I was in an OEM event this morning. It was great. A
Nice.
reverse pitch event where businesses come and pitch to us what their services are and what they can provide help to us as. So, and it was great.
Yeah, after the
There are a
episode,
lot
I'll
of
make
other
sure I get those links from you because I'll add that to the episode description. That
yeah,
way, anybody listening, if you live in Oregon, it's a great potential resource for you.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Be happy to give you that. Um, but on the people wanting to help, there's all kinds of people wanting to help. The hard part that I'm finding is getting people with the money to help you scale.
Hmm.
I mean, they're careful, right? They're careful with
Yeah.
it. They want to make sure that they're not wasting it. And quite frankly, Good Pud is a first timer food. It's not a nutritional supplement. It's not some kind of a meal replacement. This is a culinary quality dessert for people like me with dietary restrictions. Um, it spawned out of the frustration of the crap that's on the shelves in the grocery store that says it's healthy, but it's not healthy. It's
Yeah.
full of oils, it's full of palm oils, it's full of hidden carbohydrates. There's 56 different forms of sugar that they can put in our food.
Yeah. I mean, we've
That's
all been victims of that. I found myself the same thing. Everybody wants that sweet treat at the end of the day. Not going to say the exact name of this company because I don't want them to come after me, but there's a very well-known cookie that is marketed as a healthy, high-protein treat after the gym or after your meal, and you get two cookies in that package, or what? It's a two or one, but anyway, they're pretty big cookies, and you think to yourself, "Oh, one cookie's one serving." No, my friend, that's like 4 servings. And
yeah,
when you read the label and see what else they cram into it, it is not a healthy alternative.
yeah,
It is not a health food, and we've gotten to this idea that if it's marketed by a fitness brand, if it's marketed by a brand that's billed himself as being for people that are going to the gym, are involved in fitness, and it's great for you. Look, right now, this very moment, I am guzzling down a C4 energy drink. That's not a promotion. I'm just really, really tired. I have a newborn baby and I am exhausted. But I'm saying we have to
Con-
be we have to be smarter about what we put. And I think what you're bringing to the market, like you said it perfectly. We're not trying to replace a meal. We're not trying to replace. We're trying to give you something that's an option for when you want to indulge, when you want that reward, that sweet dessert. That is something that is better than going into insulin shock and eating a giant Hershey's double chunk cookie. It's definitely something that's needed. But there, like you were talking about, how do we scale it? How do we grow this business?
yeah, yeah, and we'll get into the response to Good Pud. I'm expecting here in a little bit, but um, the help in Oregon is phenomenal. I don't know what it's like in other states. It, it's a huge community of people that want to help each other. The community kitchens are fantastic. There's, distribution's difficult.
Yeah.
I could get into Market of Choice stores down south of me. There's 3 in Eugene, 1 in Bend, 1 in Ashland, but I have to do my own distributing because it's a frozen product. And so that's been a difficult challenge, especially in the wintertime. And we're supposed to get pounded with snow this weekend, possibly. Market of Choice does their own distribution of shelf stable. So if it was shelf stable, then I wouldn't have to worry about it. I'd take it to the Belmont store and they would just take it to all of their stores. But since it's frozen, I got to do my own distribution. And that's, being a one-man show and all of this, I mean, I create the labels. I send them to Biston to create the cups. I've created the website. I keep up with the website as best I can, the calendar on it, the sales that are on it, getting those shipped. I was in the kitchen 12 hours yesterday. I was in the kitchen several hours the night before making pie filling pudding. At the OEN thing this morning, I ran down to Corvallis Tuesday morning and dropped off an order, came back up here, picked up allulose out by the airport, came back over here. Just finding time to get all of this in as a one-band show or a one-man band is getting challenging as the demand for it daily increases. It's crazy. I just got another order for 6 cases at the Belmont store this morning while I was at the OEN thing. I got to figure out how to get over there between this afternoon and tomorrow. And I'm working part-time. I was working full-time up until March doing all of this. So, and it's been bootstrapped 100% out of pocket.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that in my core.
Yeah, and there's times when it's just gotten like tight.
Yeah.
I mean, how am I going to pay the rent? And anybody out there want to contribute to my Venmo account? Please.
We'll link that in the episode description as well. Yeah, it's a hard thing building something from scratch when you're shipping, your sales, your customer service, your production. You're putting on every hat.
Yeah.
And people don't understand when they reach out to you. And I get this a lot too, is like, we love what you're doing. We love what you and the team are doing. You guys are great. It's like, you look around you, it's like, motherfucker, it's me.
Man, this is the greatest company. Thank you so much for doing this. And like, yeah, I am. Thank you. You're welcome.
Hey, tell your sales team we really appreciate them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'll tell my sales guy all about that.
You guys are crushing it. It's like, hey, it's Scott.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, like, you have to hustle. You have to work extra hard because you have to build that fan base. You have to build that customer base. And I tell people, like, look, in the moment while you're there, you have to understand that there's a power in knowing that there's you scream at your lowest lows in the moments where you're like, fuck, I wish somebody could come in and do this tonight because I cannot stay up till 4 a.m. and then do a project and then turn in what I have to turn in at 5 a.m. and then continue going all day long. You wish somebody would step in with that superhero freaking cape on, be like, I'll take care of these orders, Scott. But at the end of the day, there is a beauty in knowing that you can do this and you're doing it. The cavalry's not coming right now. There's no backup team coming in. But what you're doing is you're building the framework to be able to, like, you're making the sales, you're making the product. You're going to get to the point where you can hire the right teammate. That's the thing. You have the passion, you have a product that people want and is needed. That's a thing that we haven't even talked about yet. When we look at the state of our American public and the health issues that we're facing, there is a demand for this product. There is a need for this product, not just for individuals in their 40s, 50s, and 60s or 30s. No, our young kids. Now more than ever, the amount of children that are living and growing up with dietary restrictions is going through the roof.
It's crazy.
How many kids want to eat stale bread for their birthday cake, or they want to eat like the garbage options for sugar free. Like, no, it stinks, absolutely stinks to not be able to have those sweets in your little one, but you have something that you can provide them right now. That product that you're
Yeah.
working and what you're creating, what you're bringing out there will bring the right team. It's just not giving up, having the ability to, like,
Yep.
take a knee when you need to, reach out for support from your friends, but know that, like, Scott, you're on to something. Like, it's going to spark fire. You just have hold on for the teammates you can hire.
And they're coming. They're great description of all of that, Danny.
Yeah.
They're coming. This has always been about, I'm helping people. The money will come.
Yeah.
And, just a little background on me. My dad died when I was 8 years old, and that was devastating to the family. And, all right, here we go, God. At 11 years old, I turned to alcohol, and by 12, I turned to drugs.
Oh,
And I've spent my life struggling with drugs and alcohol ever since. And when I got clean in 2004, and I got sober in 2013. And when I finally understood that if I don't take care of this, and if I don't do what I need to do to take care of this, and thank God for the founders of the 12-step program that have given me a life.
Yeah.
Right? They've given me a life. And I have an opportunity to either do something with it or not. And I learned through this program that helping other people is more important than constantly thinking about me. When I'm always thinking about me, I don't have time to think about somebody else.
Yep.
And we live in a world that's full of, me first, me first, me first. And when God dropped this pudding into my hands and I started seeing what it was doing for people, I knew what I had to do, and if I can't find food that is edible, much less healthy, then there's a ton of people out there who have the same problem. So let's do something with it. And that's when I decided in September, you know what, screw it. What have I got to lose? Let's start a company and let's make this for the masses. And I've been at it ever since. And, talking about the food issues that we have out there and the chronic disease, I saw some of the confirmation hearings yesterday with RFK Jr., and he made an astonishing statement to me. Well, not so astonishing that with the research that I've done, but he said that 60% of Americans have chronic disease.
Yeah.
That's an astounding number of people, right?
Yeah.
And just to hear that is like, yeah, that's a lot. But when you're in the markets all year long and you're got these people standing in front of you every single weekend, you see it. You see the people with the diabetes, with the digestive diseases, with the autism, with little kids that have food allergies and they can't eat hardly anything, and they're born freaking lactose intolerant and gluten intolerant and diabetic and digestive disorders and swallowing issues, and it just goes on and on and on. I'm blown away at the sickness that we have. I mean, I have my own. I got thyroid disease and heart disease. It's crazy the number of people out there, and it's growing every day. Last year, I did a pop-up and pitch as a product pitch at Oregon Entrepreneurs Network. And I did a little research before that, and I just gone out to Google, and you can do the same. Anybody can do this. Go out there and Google how many people are diagnosed with diabetes, how many people are diagnosed with digestive diseases, how many people are diagnosed with food allergies. Last year in May, that sum total was over 240 million Americans.
Yeah.
There's only 350 million or so of us. Well, there's your 60%, right?
Yeah.
So his numbers are not BS. They're for real. And whatever I can do to provide a dessert that's healthy, virtually harmless, and tastes freaking phenomenal, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And I've been on a mission to do it. And I don't care if I got to eat bread and water to keep the bills paid and the company open until it comes along and those doors open up. I've done some tastings at Legacy Hospital the last couple of weeks, and they love it. This morning, I talked to a representative of OHSU who's going to try to get me connected with somebody at Dornbecker Children's Hospital. One of my biggest goals this year is to get it into the children's hospitals in the area.
Yeah.
When I've got a mom standing at my booth who's desperate to find something that her infant in the stroller in front of me can eat, that he will eat, and we're handing him spoonfuls of good food, and he's just sucking it down, and he's screaming at the cups and the spoon in her hand and pointing at it, wanting more. And I look up at her, and she's got tears rolling down her cheeks.
Yeah. It's a powerful thing, man. It's I always tell people, like, being of service isn't just something that is for our first responders, military, and our veterans. Like, all of us in this human experience, like, we have to be able to connect to that power of being able to help one another. How can I help you on your journey? How can I be of service to you? That's a powerful thing to understand. Living in the frame of only worried about the things that you're experiencing is incredibly horrible. It's
Crazy.
It's something that when you pull the lens back, I feel bad for people that live in that space of like me. How can I make life all about me, make things better for me? Like, yes, as kids, as young men, as young women, yeah, that's part of life. But at some point you grow up and you realize that the things that matter are being able to help each other, being able to provide for your family, take care of your loved ones, but being able to go back into your community and help your community, the people that are your neighbors, the people that are living next to you, and the wider world around you. Yeah, you don't have to do it through a podcast. You don't have to do it through your YouTube channel. Maybe it's not through creating your own food product, but you have to figure out a way to connect with human beings. Like, connection's a vital aspect of our lived experience. And to live in this remote and this internet realm and being sucked into that, where it's just living on your cell phones, like, dude, get outside of that.
Yeah.
You have to walk outside and figure out how you can help one person. And Scott, you're a testament to that. What you're doing and that story you just were so willing to share with us, that even though that's just one story, there's probably likely thousands of them out there of people that find your product in the shelf and they're like, wow, I can give this to my kid. Like, he can actually have a treat on his birthday. Because like you said earlier, like, the reality is now more than ever, our American public is very sick. It's not a normal thing to have these food intolerances. It's not a normal thing, but we now have lulled ourselves to just accept it. It's like, no, like, this should not be the norm. We should not be eating 24/7 at McDonald's. That's just like, to be to be advocating for this seems crazy, but that's where we're at. If you get 90% of your meals from a fast food restaurant, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. I'm sorry, but you should do better for yourself. You're not going to live long. You're not going to be here with us long if that's where you're getting the vast majority of your food. Yeah.
Nope. No, and part of why I shared a little bit about my, addiction issues and alcoholism issues is that, I know there's people out there that are going to watch this that are in the same boat.
Yep.
And I want them to know that you can change it. You can.
Oh, yeah.
And the 12-step program, the original one, it works, man.
It does, man.
Works.
I've seen it change lives.
If you've had enough of that, you can change it. Okay. And I'll kind of leave it at that. But the life that I have today is far beyond anything I ever dreamed of. And even though it's hard at times, It's worth every minute of it. And you're right. I've never felt anything like that little story. And there's hundreds of them that I could tell you we don't have time for, that are at the markets all the time, you know. Ice cream? What do you mean ice cream? I've never eaten ice cream. I'm lactose intolerant. Or I found out I'm lactose intolerant and I can't eat it anymore. Well, here, let's change that.
Yeah.
Let's fix that problem. I've had people come up, and I had a guy come up, and he was listening to me give the information to somebody at the booth, and he and his girlfriend walked up and said, you know, I've got digestive diseases. I'm looking at all your stuff. I think he had Crohn's, and he said, you know, I'll try a spoonful, but I need 24 hours before I can really, know. I said, well, I won't be here tomorrow. I'll be here next week. And so he ate a spoonful. Next week, he came back and he bought one of every flavor.
Wow.
He said, I couldn't believe it. It actually soothed my digestive tract. Like, whoa, awesome. That was my first realization that, I told my naturopath, I'd gone in to see her a few weeks later, and I told her about the incident. She says, well, duh, it's food, right? She's so awesome.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that. How cool has it been to be able to go back to that provider and be like, hey, not only did you help me, not only did you help heal what I was going through, but look what I'm doing now. Like being able to, because those are real tools.
Yeah, she gave me a review, which is up there on the website, Dr. Lori, and she's been one of my biggest advocates from the beginning. She's the one that, you need to make a blueberry, and I started making blueberry acai. Nice. And it's a hyper antioxidant, and you get the benefit of blueberry and the benefit of acai berry. And I don't know if maybe but sweet potato is a natural insulin regulator and blood sugar reducer.
Yeah.
So it does it naturally. Cocoa does the same thing. Allulose, there's tons of research out there on allulose now that shows it's an insulin regulator also. It's a gut biome contributor also. And they're finding that there are some potential positive cancer prevention benefits to it as well. I mean, it's got all kinds of health benefits, as well as the fact that it doesn't pop your blood sugar. It doesn't have any aftertaste. It's 70% the sweetness of sugar. It looks, tastes, and bakes just like sugar. And I actually stumbled on it looking for a sugar-free, plant-based caramel sauce. And this guy was using this stuff, allulose, because it browns like sugar. Well, it's because it's a sugar, and it's a plant-derived sugar. They find it in jackfruit, figs, and raisins mainly. Mm-hmm. And it does it using coconut oil and coconut cream. It makes awesome caramel sauce, and it doesn't have that coconutty flavor. It's when you cook that caramel up, it kind of removes the coconut flavor from the coconut oil and the coconut cream. But it's expensive, so make it in small batches. When you try to make it in like 20-liter batches, if you get it just too cooked, it's done and it's over with. So that's part of the R&D on the books. But the benefits of this have been, I didn't know. I'm not a scientist. I've been working in semiconductor manufacturing, automation, and solar most all of my career. And yeah, no kidding. Way off. I mean, the last 10 years we're writing service manuals for Xerox. Wow. In their business machines. So this was, I'm just a guy, right? I'm just a guy, right? Yeah. And I found something that I love and enjoy doing, and have never gotten more satisfaction out of something that I do, and it's helping people. It's crazy. How could you ask for more, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm making pies with Humble Pie Company over in Tigard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're taking their gluten-free pie crust and wrapping it around the pudding and making a no added sugar gluten-free hand pie.
Man. So they were
Yeah,
able to figure out the pie conundrum.
pie crust conundrum. Oh my God. When you take gluten out of a pie crust, the expansion, there's no elasticity in it anymore, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they had to figure out and it's taken a while for them to figure it out, but they finally figured it out. And I'll pick up pies for tomorrow's market at 8, Oregon City Farmers Market, Saturday, 10 to 2. We'll be there. And I'll be introducing the gluten-free pies for the first time
That's nuts, man. It's funny,
in all
like
6 flavors.
having to like have research and development, and of course that department's also headed by you.
Well, the pie crust, I'm the quality inspector,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, they had a pie crust and it just didn't meet quality,
Yeah.
and I had planned to take them 2 weeks ago, and I'm not going to buy this a second time. I'm not going to give it to customers because
Yeah.
they're not going to do it either. It doesn't pass my quality standards, so I'm not going to put it out there on the market. And that's transparency and quality and flavor,
Yeah.
right? Those are the three main points to what I'm trying to do here in being something different. I'm a first, basically.
Yeah.
The Oregon Department of Agriculture safety inspector that certifies us in the community kitchen got right in my face signing paperwork and said, "You realize you're the only one doing anything like this." I
Wow.
was like, "Oh, really?" Nonchalantly. And he says, "No, really, I've been on your website. No one is doing anything like this." It's like, wow, that's either a really cool thing or it could be a detriment, right?
Yeah, you can't
The
be
way he
scared of that
said it.
though. Like that's being the first. Like you're gonna pave the way for others, and it will happen. There will be copycats, but still the first. You're still the first.
Numero uno in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Are you developing or thinking of bringing any other items out? And like,
Ah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I'm working on an instant pudding
Oh
and
wow.
crunchy snacks. Um, I figured out that I can, through a process, powder the pudding, not change any of the formulation whatsoever, but turn it into a powder. And in like we've as tests, we bought some of those reusable baby food pouches.
Yeah.
They've
Yeah.
got a spout top and a Ziploc in. Put the pudding in, pour the water in, reseal it, squeeze it to mix it, pull the spout cap off, and squirt it in your mouth. Instant pudding.
Damn.
You retain 98% of the nutrition in it. It's got a 20-year shelf life for a typical product like that. And it's shelf stable. And it's weightless. Moms can carry it in their day bags. Um, you know, Hunting,
Camping. Yeah.
backpacking, fishing, hiking, camping, whatever, in that respect. And then what about disaster relief? All of these people that if I could have just gotten it done and out on the market for North Carolina and the hurricane that just came through there, the fires that are going on down there
Yeah.
in California, and all of these people that they don't have electricity, they don't have gas, they got no way to cook. FEMA's out there, or Red Cross or whoever trying to help feed these people in whatever place they've got to do it in. And this is hypoallergenic. Anyone can eat it. Open it up, pour the water into the line, seal it, squeeze it to mix it, pull the spout cap off, and squirt it in your mouth. You don't have to worry about diabetics and what they can and can't eat. There's no added sugar to it,
Yeah.
right? People with Crohn's and IBS and celiac and gluten issues, not a problem. Dairy issues, not a problem. Egg issues, this stuff is dairy, egg, soy, nut, oil, gum, chemical, corn, pea, gluten-free, and no added sugar. It's food.
Yeah.
And it's safe for virtually anyone to eat that's not allergic to sweet potatoes or chocolate. And I can't imagine being allergic to sweet potatoes or chocolate. But there's been
right
a few
now,
people.
somebody listening is like, "Damn it!"
Yeah, but I do have 3 non-chocolate flavors. sweet potato pie, lemon meringue, and blueberry acai for those that can't eat chocolate.
Nice.
And there's a big misconception about chocolate. Oh, I can't eat chocolate. It doesn't have dairy in it like milk chocolate does, and it doesn't have sugar in it like most all chocolate does.
Yep.
And so when it's unsweetened pure cocoa powder, it's a phenomenal antioxidant. It's a phenomenal blood sugar regulator. It's a great food health benefit. So basically, it's 98% chocolate because there's 8 grams of sugar per serving, and that comes from the sweet potato.
Yeah.
Right? So when people are looking at percentage of chocolate, a lot of people are thinking it's milk to chocolate ratio. No, it's sugar to chocolate. So 70% Coke chocolate bar is 30% sugar, 70% cocoa. So this is like 98%.
Yeah.
92%, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just healthy, good stuff. All the fruit powders are organic, freeze dried, pure fruit powder. I use organic arrowroot powder to thicken up the non-chocolates. I use organic sweet potato puree. I get that from Staubach Island Farms down in Corvallis. I get the cocoa from Cacao Berry. They're a Swiss company that's been around since 1842. And just a side note, the price of that chocolate just went up $6.60 a kilo this last week. Yeah, but I won't compromise on the flavor profile. Yeah. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Allulose has come down a couple of dollars, a 25 kilogram bag.
So there's that.
Yeah, I get that from Icon Foods in Portland. And my alcohol-free vanilla comes from Singing Dog Vanilla down in Eugene, Oregon. And what else do we got in there?
Yeah, for the most part, you're getting everything, and everything's American right here.
Well, everything but the cocoa,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I've done my best to try to create what sustainability I can with Portland's or the Pacific Northwest ingredient makers. Northwest Wild Foods comes, they're the ones that make the fruit powders. The lemon juice is organic freeze-dried lemon juice, and I get it out of California from Micro Ingredients. And nobody's paying me to give you these names of the people I get it from. I'm just super grateful to be working with these folks and to get the ingredients that I get from them because it's phenomenal. They're phenomenal food ingredients.
Yeah, no, we have to highlight that and be able to promote that because even though I'm not in that space, I do know that you can go outside the United States and get tons of flavor profiles from scrupulous countries, places where you shouldn't be getting your food products or ingredients, and they make it really cheap and affordable. And it's often not, more often than not, it's just junk. It's horrible stuff that is giving you those flavor profiles. And people do it. They cut costs to pass off a little bit of savings before they jack the prices up for you, the consumer at home, which is horrible.
Exactly. And we're not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Well, Scott, before I let you go, what are some words of advice or wisdom that you can give anybody out there that's wanting to venture into the entrepreneurial space and create something from scratch?
Well, first off, if you have something, I don't care what it is, a video game, a piece of machinery, improvement to prior art, a food or beverage, whatever it is that you know is going to benefit somebody else, don't listen to anyone else, okay? If this is something you want to do, then do it. You got one shot at this, man, this life. You got one shot at it. And if you don't take it, nobody's going to.
Yep.
Right? And nobody's going to be able to do this for you. I can't eat for you. I can't breathe for you. I can't sleep for you. You have to do this. So if it's something you truly believe in, then take a shot. What have you got to lose? Nothing but some time. And eventually, once you figure out that it was the right move, it's going to change your life. And you're going to be able to help other people. You're going to be able to employ people. You're going to make sustainability in your community, and your life is going to improve dramatically from all of those points. But it's going to take a lot of sacrifice. You gotta want this pretty bad. And when it gets hard, and yesterday I'm in the kitchen. It's I didn't get to bed till like 11:30 after being in the kitchen the night before, and I'm pumping out and I'm lidding cups. I'm like, man, I got 2 more batches to make. I gotta be at the Orient thing at 8. I gotta get up at 4:30. Maybe I'll just finish this batch. I'm like, no, I got more batches to make. I can't stop. You just got to dig a little deeper and work a little harder. And, trying to find customers is marketing. I don't know jack about social media. I mean, honestly, I hadn't logged into my Facebook account that I'd had since 2007 for like 5 years, 4 or 5 years. And I didn't know that you can't create an e-commerce account in Facebook or Instagram unless you've got a personal account, right?
Yep.
And I had the Instagram thing, but so I log into my Facebook account and maybe I changed the password and I can't get in. I finally pinged Meta and they said, well, it's been closed for lack of activity. Like, oh, no. So I had to create a new Facebook account. But the point being is that social media for me has just been on a personal level, just a waste of time.
Yeah.
I'll burn 3 hours listening to other people and reading their stuff and look at my watch. Oh my God, it's been 3 hours. So I just got out of it. Well, now it's another story. And now I've had to learn whatever crappy posts I've got out there has been, trial and error and learning from other people. So don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't listen to what other people say you should or shouldn't do. Listen to your gut. Listen to your heart. Stop listening to your head and just believe that what you're doing is the right thing for you and that what you're doing is to help other people. And I'll say this, I started a solar company in 2015, 2014. And, I went over to the Philippines. We designed a new thermal solar collector and drivetrain. I was getting 60% more heat out of it than prior art was getting. Came back here, knew I was going to be up and running and have a project by March of 2016, and it just wasn't happening. But you can't stop, right? And so maybe this thing didn't work that I tried before. Well, if you're an entrepreneurial, heart, you're going to keep finding something else and trying something else. So don't give up, man. Just stick with it, talk to people, reach out to your community, reach out to your Oregon Entrepreneurs Network, and find out, go to these things that, they're free. This morning was free. Go, check it out, connect with people, networking, Chamber of Commerce, wherever there are opportunities for you to learn more from someone else, do it, and don't give up. And I want to reach out one more thing before we get out of here, Denny.
Yeah.
I'm not a veteran, but my family has been in every war since, God, I don't know, French and Indian War. They came over here in the late 1600s. My 8th generation grandfather, Hume, came over here in 1721. He and his apprentice, George Washington, at 17, were the first to survey Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy, huh? And so, even though I'm not a veteran, I've got family that's fought in every war from the French and Indian War through the Vietnam War. And I love my country. I've lived and worked in 16 countries, developing countries, socialist countries, communist countries. This is the greatest country on the planet. and it's got some of the
Absolutely.
most magnificent people on the planet. And our veterans are at the top of that list. You guys have given me the ability to do what I do every day. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Oh, you guys are
Um,
worth it. American people deserve the best service members and the best we can provide. You're worth it. That's the best thing that I've been able to learn how to give that back, and that because we appreciate you guys. So yeah, American people are worth it, and they deserve great people that are willing to serve. And it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, brother. And I
Thank
cannot
you,
thank you
man.
enough for sharing your journey and being vulnerable enough to show us that, yeah, it can be difficult, it can be hard, but it can also be incredibly rewarding. So, Scott Campbell, again, what's the name of your company?
Love in my tummy foods.
And what's the
For
number one product that you have right now?
Thin Mint Cookie.
Nice.
Yeah, Thin Mint Cookie. It's like, it's, dude, are you here in Oregon? Where are you
No,
at?
no, I'm currently in Alabama. Wife, me and the wife are doing a short stint here before we move back down to Florida.
Oh, shoot. Well, we'll have to get you some to, check it out. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You'll be shocked. I mean, I've got an 80% retention rate. When people walk up to the booth, and I've got data to show, never eaten it before, don't know anything about me. What the hell are you selling? And I tell them what it is. And, they try it, and 80% of people buy it,
Yeah.
whether they got dietary restrictions or not, because it's good.
Heck yeah.
It's flavor. The reason most people don't eat what they should is because what they should tastes like shit. But
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But like one thing I did realize when you clean up your diet and you do finally get rid of artificial flavors, and it takes time. I'm not saying that you're gonna be able to realize the true taste of sweetness of a natural fruit overnight, but you will. The subtle taste of great, delicious natural foods comes back once you walk away from all the fucking bullshit that's out there. Clean up your diet, people. Get some good food. Get some good food back in your diet. And for God's sake, stop going to McDonald's. I don't care if it's a guilty
yeah,
pleasure. Do
yeah.
Chick-fil-A. It's not that much better. Or do Five Guys burgers. But McDonald's, like, it's just absolutely cardboard. That's my pet peeve. I'm sticking to that. Scott Campbell, thank you for being here today. And to all you tuning in, please
Thank you,
leave us a
Dave.
positive review. Head on over to Spotify or Apple Podcast. Give us a 5-star review and let us know that you appreciate this because we appreciate you. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time. Till then, take care.